This is Oklahoma's own News 9.
Well, have you noticed it is finally starting to feel a little bit like winter is coming?
It is coming, and last year's record breaker. It is now time to look ahead. So here's David Payne with his winter forecast. David?
Record ice for the month of October. A historic ice storm, power lines down, 300,000 customers in the dark. That's going to go right across Oklahoma overnight. 10 inches of snow down there today. Snow drifts today over 6 feet. Wind chill 20 to 25 below zero. All right, Oklahoma, it's that time of year, and I'm talking about my winter forecast, and I almost don't even want to look back to what we had last year. It was crazy. It began in October with the historic ice storm, and then it just kept getting worse with all the crazy Arctic polar air we had, record cold, record snow from, it seemed like, what was from start to finish. The lakes, the ponds, everything froze up. We had the power outages. Yuck, what a mess. We do not want to do that again, right? Okay, so here's the deal. We've been analyzing the data from all around the globe and putting it all together. So this is my winter forecast. Now, remember, last year in October, historic ice storm, the bullseye in the metro across central Oklahoma, locally up to 3 inches of ice. We had over 300,000, again, customers without power. That's nearly 1 million Oklahomans were without power for a long time. All right, so last year we ended up with 22.5 inches of snow. We averaged 6.7, and the record is 25.2. So we nearly broke the all-time record snow last year. Keys to this year are, they're lined up here for you. Talking about the La Nina, it continues in the Pacific Ocean. More on that coming up. It will be a weaker La Nina like what it was last year. Above average snowfall right now in through parts of Alaska and northern Canada, over through Siberia. A weaker polar vortex. We all know what that is. Big area of low pressure that comes out of Canada. And warm water in the North Pacific right now that will continue to stay warm through winter. So here's La Nina, where the water temperatures down here are cooler than average. We have a big pocket of warm water in the North Pacific, and then way up here we have a pocket of cold water. So all of these little areas of warmer and colder water will influence where the jet stream sets up, all right? And then here's the snow and ice cover I'm talking about. This is current snow and ice developing to our north, and normally the way it works, the more ice and snow you have on the ground, the colder the air will be. So this winter, the way it looks right now, the subtropical jet will be coming out of the west, south. This will be the storm track, okay, and Oklahoma will be underneath that from time to time. And at the same time, at least off and on, the polar jet will be coming out of Canada down across the U.S., and that will bring in that frigid, cold Arctic/polar air. The polar vortex this year, I think, will be weak, and anytime it's weak, it comes south. And it also brings in that really, really cold air. So putting it all together, my precipitation forecast, I think for Oklahoma, it's going to be basically average precipitation for the winter months, above average in the Great Lakes and the Northeast, and also from Colorado back to the Northwest. My temperature forecast, brutal to the north of Oklahoma, but even here in Oklahoma, most of the state a little bit below average on those temperatures, okay? It won't be cold the entire winter, but we're going to have, again, outbreaks of cold air and, again, Canadian, polar, Arctic air, at least off and on, all right? My snowfall forecast, above average, much above in the Great Lakes, also in the Northwest, and we'll say average snowfall for Oklahoma coming up this winter. So breaking it down for you, not as cold, not as snowy, not as brutal as last winter, but below average temperatures, average precipitation with some dry periods, and average snowfall with a few decent snows in there, at least off and on, and also might have a little ice. I think we have an early start. It ramps up in December. We might get a midwinter break, and then I think it ramps up and finishes strong as we get into your February. So what kind of winter overall? Well, last winter, it was a 9. I think right now we will settle up at about a 5 here in Oklahoma, and that is still good enough for some good old-fashioned snowball fights.
Get your sled ready.
And that's all we ask. Is enough for some sledding and good old snowball fights.
A little bit of, I was just talking that I need to get the kids some snowsuits, and
Yeah.
now I know I do.
I think so. You know, last year being a 9 on a scale of 1 to 9 as far as craziness.
Right.
We give this one a 5. And so if it's half as bad as last year, okay.
I don't mind the
Still good enough.
precip, but that cold last year
It was too cold.
just unbearable.
I know. And,
Yes.
you know, that can happen again. It will happen again, hopefully just not this year.